Raptors have now won 3 straight basketball games as they beat the Sacramento Kings in Sacramento 118-113. It was a back and forth game, a tight contest on the road, but the Raptors do prevail by 5 points, and a great job at that by the Raptors, and a really good job in the fourth quarter, battling offensively. And the reason I say that is strictly at Pascal Siakam. The guy struggled for most of the ball game offensively. However, in the fourth, he drops 11 of his 23. 11 of his 23 were in the fourth quarter. And not only that, in a span of about, 2 minutes, about 2 or 3 minutes left in the basketball game, he drops 8 straight points. So as I said in the last video against Golden State, where he was huge yet again late in that basketball game, I don't care what your percentages are. I don't care what you do in the first, second, or third quarter. But if you make clutch, big-time buckets in the fourth quarter, your percentages mean absolutely nothing to me. And we said in the last one, and I'll say it again, Pascal had 23 points today. Yeah, he shot 7 of 15, which is pretty good. 2 of 8 from 3. He had 3 steals in the game. He was a plus 10. That's great. Again, like I said, he had 8 straight points for this team in the final 3 minutes of this game. He had 11 in the fourth of his 23, and he shot extremely good, including that ridiculous 3 that he made. So a big-time fourth quarter by Lowry and Siakam, but late in the game, it was Pascal Siakam doing a job, all right? But let's go back to the beginning and break this puppy down. The Raptors come out of the gate absolutely flying. They're up by 12 early on. They're feeling fantastic. And then, bang, they hit a brick wall. The bench comes out. They struggle. And you end up being tied 22-22 after 1 quarter of play. Your offense sluggish and not very good. There was, I think, 3 instances in this game where the Raptors offense just dried up. And against a lot better teams, look, Sacramento, I got to give that team a lot of credit. They played a really good game, and I want to get to them very shortly. But against a team that you should beat, you cannot, against great teams, you can't have droughts like that. They will kill you. Milwaukee, Clippers, Lakers, heck, Philly, Boston, Miami, those teams will kill you if you have 3 offensive droughts. Now, the Raptors defense keeps them in a lot of basketball games, and it did it again today. In the second quarter, Raptors were plus 1, 29-28. Great, you're up by 1 at halftime. And at one point, they were down by, I think, 8. If I'm not mistaken, let me see what their biggest lead was. It was around there. It was 8 in the second quarter. So they end up getting back into it and actually leading by 1 at halftime. So we're feeling okay going into the break. Good stuff there. And in the third quarter, the Raptors really start getting their offense together. Now, obviously, a late flurry by the Kings at the end of the third. Raptors still plus 3 in the quarter, though, 27-24, and lead by 4 heading into the fourth quarter. You have the lead, you're in the fourth quarter, and you got to do a job. And as I said, the Raptors offense really flowed nicely in that fourth quarter. 40 points scored, and you allow 39, but you won the quarter, you won the game by 5, and let's all get this straight. Luke Walton is not very swift. That's all I got to say. The reason I'm saying that is because you need a 3. You need a 3, okay? And you pick Bjelica, who is, look, he's not a bad 3-point shooter. Where is he here? All right? Where is he here? He's a 43% 3-point shooter this season. He was 0 of 4 from 3. You also have, Harrison Barnes. I don't know if Barnes was out there to close the game or whatnot. But you have Buddy Hield, who already made 3 threes in the game, on the bench. Not sure why you're doing that. And then Bjelica takes the last shot. It's a deep 3. And he airballs and it goes out of bounds, Raptor ball, and game over. Not very swift. But before I touch on the game and the statistics, I have to give kudos to the Sacramento Kings, because not only did that team play a really good game today, before coming into the game today, they'd won 7 of 9. They climbed right back into that playoff hunt. They were 9th coming into this game. And they've been playing some really good basketball. And the Raptors go in there, grind it out, and get a win. If I'm not mistaken, they played yesterday too, did Sacramento? They did. They played in Portland and won. So for them to play on a back-to-back against Toronto, who obviously had been resting for a couple days, and to go out there and compete as hard as they did, I got to give that team a lot of credit. I love De'Aaron Fox. I like Buddy Hield a lot. Bagley's still hurt, obviously, but where are we here? Bogdanovic is great, even though he didn't shoot a lot, and he only had 9 points. Bazemore's a great addition. I don't know. I think the team is a really good one. It's just they need to continue to find their way. But I really like it. Obviously, Jabari Parker, he's injured, right? He has an illness right now, yeah. But he's a guy that's good as well. So this team, don't be surprised if these guys start climbing into that 8th seed category. Because they're a good basketball team. And they showed it tonight against the Raptors. Now, let's get to the numbers here. All right, Raptors shoot 48% from the field. They shoot 47% from the field. The Raptors knocked down 19 threes. And they were 40% from 3. The only reason this team won the game today, I'm just going to throw it right out there to you guys. The reason I say that is because, yes, you shot 40% from the 48% from the field is pretty good, and we'll take that. They only shot 8 for 31 from 3, which was terrible. They were incredibly good inside the paint, and you were trying to work back Marc Gasol, so it was really kind of tough to, try to toughen the paint, trying to get things going. But they were 8 for 31 from 3. From the free throw line, Raptors were 21 for 27, which is only 78%. They were 91%, 21 for 23. So they took 4 less, but they made the same amount as the Toronto Raptors. And rebounds, the Raptors got clobbered. They got absolutely clobbered. They were minus 14 on the glass. They were minus 8 in the offensive glass. And where are we in second chance points and all that stuff? That's kind of what I'm looking for here. Before I get the other stats going, points off of turnovers. Ladies and gentlemen, the Raptors turned the ball over, where are we here? 9 times. No, excuse me, that's points in the paint, not points off of turnovers. They had 60. And again, it leads into the thing I just said about they dominated inside. And they didn't shoot the 3 really, really well. But in the paint, that team was so good. They had 60 to 36. They crushed us in the paint, second chance points. Obviously, they won the 10-2 in the offensive glass category, but they crushed us 16-3 in the second chance points. Raptors won the fast break only by 6, 23-17. And again, like I said, guys, the 3-pointers, you were plus 11 in that category. You guys can do the math. That's a lot. And the Raptors did a job today. 27 assists to their 24, 10 steals to their 5. They had 7 blocks. We had 3. We only had 9 turnovers. A very sound game there. They only had 11, so a very good game on their part as well. So it was a very fun game to watch because of a lot of things going on and a lot of craziness happening. And let's get to some numbers here for the Raptor players. All right. Now, we talked about Pascal Siakam's 23, 8, and 5. He also dropped 5 dimes and had 8 boards, guys. He made some big shots late. And he struggled early on, but he had 8 boards and 5 assists as well. Really good job by Pascal today, finding his way late in that game and making an impact in other ways as well. That's been the thing that we kind of been looking at him and saying, he's forcing a lot of shots. He's having a tough time. And that's okay if you're going to force a couple shots here and there because you want to get your offense going. But if it's not working, you got to find other ways to help the team, as Kyle Lowry always does. Well, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. He was moving the ball extremely well. He had 3 steals in the game. His defense was very active. And it led to offense late in the fourth quarter. A really good job by Pascal. OG Anunoby, guys, another double-digit game for OG. 12 points, couple boards on 4 of 7 shooting, 2 of 4 from the line, 2 of 3 from 3. He had a steal in the game as well. He was a plus 10. Great job by OG. I wouldn't say big night, but a good game for OG Anunoby. Serge Ibaka, obviously, with Marc Gasol back, you want to kind of ease him in. You don't want to throw him out there in the starting unit right away. So they throw out Ibaka. Why? Because the Raptors have that luxury of a guy like Ibaka who can do it. He had 15 points, 10 boards, 5 assists on 5 of 10 shooting, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, 1 of 4 from 3. He had 2 blocks in the game and a plus 15 on the floor, as well as that incredible view of the camera, because he was having a great old stare down with the camera. It was quite disturbing, actually. But great job by Serge, double-double. I also had 5 assists and just an incredible game overall by him. Now let's get to the guys that really took this game over from start to finish. Kyle Lowry and Norman Powell. We talked about Norman Powell in the last game, dropping a career-high 37. Well, he follows that up with a 31-point performance today, and Lowry drops 30 of his own. They combined for 61, your starting backcourt. Whoo, that's nice. Lowry also, where's Lowry here? He also had 5 rebounds and 8 assists. He shot 10 of 15 from the field, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, 6 of 10 from 3, and Kyle Lowry had 3 steals in the game. He was at plus 16 while he was on the floor. Big job there by Kyle Lowry. And Norman Powell played 43 minutes, people. As I said in the last one, there's only 48 in the game. He was only off for 5 minutes as Norman Powell, and he had 31 points, a couple boards, 5 assists, 11 of 21 shooting, over 50%. I mean, are you kidding me? 3 of 4 from the line, 6 of 12 from 3. Lowry and Powell, let me do some math here, combined 12 for 22 from 3. They knocked down 12 threes combined. The Raptors had 19 total. They combined for 12. Powell also had a couple steals and a block in the game, plus 17 on the floor, and it would not be a Norman Powell game if there wasn't some ginormous dunk, and it was early in the game to make it, I think it was a 9-4 game, and he threw it down over Harry Giles. Woo, that was not nice. Norman Powell starting out the game strong and ending the game strong. Big night for Powell, and he continues to impress us every second, and the question is going to arise at some point. Do you start Powell over Fred VanVleet? And we're going to run into that question at some point if Powell continues to play at this type of level. The guy has been back for 5 or 6 games and has 20 points plus in each of them. And the last 2 he's dropped 30 plus, 37 and 31. And not only is he dropping these big numbers, they're efficient numbers too. So there's a question for you guys. When Fred VanVleet is available to play, who do you start? It's my question, you guys. I know Powell's been great off the bench and everything, but maybe you need a spark off the bench. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see how it all plays out when they come back. Because speaking of the bench, they were awful. Downright awful. I mean, Pat McCaw, well, we know about him, but he only played 17 minutes. A good riddance to that. He was a minus 17 in those 17 minutes. Gasol, look, he shot 1 of 5, but I mean, really, what do you expect? It's his first game back. Good to see him knock down one of those threes. He only played 16 minutes of work, guys. For Marc Gasol, it's all about working him back into things and getting back into the swing of things here with the team. And Hollis-Jefferson gave you nothing offensively. Terrence Davis, I love the guy. He only played 6 minutes, but he did make a shot, missed all 4 shots. He was a minus 10 in 6 minutes, and Nick Nurse didn't let him back out there. And you know what, Nick? Fine. I get that. Minus 10, you miss all 4 shots in 6 minutes. That's fine. Keep him off the floor at that point. I get it. Try not to sneeze. Don't sneeze. Okay. All right. So, but in the end, your starters get the job done, and you get the W. You've won 3 straight, and good news, Raptor fans, the Boston Celtics lose at home to the Oklahoma City Thunder 105-104, and Kemba turns it over, and Schroeder has the nice easy lay-in. That was a big boo-boo by Kemba Walker. And no Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in that game for OKC in Boston, and they come from behind and win that. A big stat line here, guys. The last 4 games at home for the Boston Celtics, they've lost all 4, and in all 4 games, at one point, they had a double-digit lead. So, I'm not saying anything about that, because it really doesn't mean much. It's all regular season stuff. It doesn't mean much. But for Raptor fans to see them lose today and us win, that gives us a 3-game lead. It's nice, but in sports, no matter what sport you play, that can evaporate. And we can also go to Milwaukee, guys. The Milwaukee Bucks are a great basketball team, but you saw what happened tonight. When they take out Giannis Antetokounmpo, you saw what happened to that team. They lost to the Phoenix Suns, and they give up 140. So for the Toronto Raptors, the injuries that they've been plagued with all year long, they really haven't missed a beat. And it tells you what this team's all about. The next game for the Toronto Raptors is a big test. You're in Utah tomorrow night. It's a 9 o'clock tip-off there in Salt Lake City, Utah. Obviously, I think the Utah Jazz last game, they didn't play today, I don't think. Hold on, let me check here. I don't see Utah. I could just be completely missing it. They might have played the day before that. Yeah, they played in Detroit and they won. So they've had that extra day. The Raptors are on a back-to-back after a crazy game in Sacramento today. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. But what we do need, and we can all agree on this, the one thing we need for tomorrow is the bench to do something. Because you can't expect Lowry and Norm and Pascal to play 43 minutes a night on back-to-back nights, especially in Utah with the elevation and all that craziness that happens there too. You need all hands on deck. And if you don't get it, might be a tricky one. All right, so you know what, guys, that is going to do it for this one. If you enjoyed the video and enjoyed the game there this evening, smash that like button, do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below your thoughts on the video, your thoughts on the game. Who is your MVP? Who is your MVP, guys? I mean, look, Pascal had the big shots late, but then you have Lowry who dropped 30 on 10 of 15 shooting, but you have Powell who had 31. Who is your MVP in this one, guys? Let me know in the comments below. And like I said earlier, the question I posed to you guys was, when Fred VanVleet comes back, who is on the bench? Do you put Fred or do you put Norm? That's the big question mark moving forward, and that's my question to you guys. Let's see what you guys come up with and see what your answers are, and give me a reason. Give me a reason why either Powell or VanVleet should be on the bench to start the game. I want to get your guys' takes on that. All right? Twitter is down below for myself. You guys follow up, send me a DM, do all that great stuff. Also, the Patreon link is down below. And, guys, I will talk to you guys Leafs edition on Tuesday night as the Leafs welcome. They're back at home, taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning at Scotiabank Arena. Anderson and Vasilevsky are the expected goaltenders there at 7 o'clock on Tuesday night. As for our Raptors, as we talked about, their next contest is tomorrow as they take on the Utah Jazz in Salt Lake City, Utah. 9 o'clock tip-off there. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you guys then.